This road was lost for centuries. An entire city was built on top of it, houses and streets and markets, and almost nobody remembered what was sleeping underneath. Then, in 1949, a trench opened near Luxor Temple and 8 stone faces looked up at the sky for the first time in ages. Tonight we are walking the road they guarded, nearly 3 kilometers of ancient pavement lined with more than 1,000 statues. This is the Avenue of Sphinxes, and it may be the grandest street ever built. We are in Luxor, in southern Egypt on the east bank of the Nile. This city sits on top of ancient Thebes, the great religious capital of Egypt during the New Kingdom. 2 enormous temple complexes anchor the town. Karnak stands to the north, and Luxor Temple rises near the riverbank to the south. The avenue we are walking runs in a nearly straight line between them, about 2.7 kilometers, a little under 2 miles. It was the ceremonial spine of one of the most powerful cities on Earth. Notice something strange about where we are walking. The avenue sits well below the level of the modern city. Streets, shops, and rooftops carry on their evening business up above us, while we move through a long, open corridor cut down into an older world. That difference in height is centuries of Nile silt, drifting sand, and layer after layer of human construction. Walking here is walking through a slice of time, with modern Luxor overhead and ancient Thebes underfoot. The Egyptians called this city Waset, the Greeks called it Thebes, and Homer called it the city of 100 gates, a place so rich in monuments that its fame crossed the Mediterranean. For centuries during the New Kingdom, this was the religious heart of Egypt, home of the god Amun and the priesthood that served him. The modern name Luxor comes from the Arabic al-Uqsar, meaning the palaces, which is what later arrivals called the towering ruins they found here. Every era that passed through gave this place a new name. The road we are on outlasted them all. Here they come, row after row on both sides of the roadway. Each statue is a sphinx, a lion body stretched out on a pedestal with a human head watching the road. They stand in ranks like soldiers on parade, evenly spaced, all facing the path where the processions once passed. Some are nearly complete, with calm carved faces that catch the evening light. Others are worn down to paws and fragments, survivors of a very long story. Originally, there were more than 1,000 of them. Seen from above, the avenue is astonishing. 1,057 statues originally lined this route between Karnak and Luxor Temple. By the time the avenue reopened, just over 800 sphinx-bodied statues and about 250 ram-headed statues had been counted along the way. The processional road itself was paved and kept clear, a formal boulevard reserved for the gods and the king. Imagine designing a single street with over 1,000 monumental sculptures, then imagine keeping it groomed for centuries. That is the scale of ambition we are walking through. Not every statue on this road has a human face. Near the Karnak end, a stretch of the avenue was lined with sphinxes bearing the heads of rams, and full ram statues stood at the temple approaches. The ram was the sacred animal of Amun, the great god of Thebes. So a ram-headed lion was a kind of double guardian, the power of the lion joined to the presence of the god. Tradition credits the young King Tutankhamun with an early section of these lion-bodied, ram-headed figures. Amenhotep III, one of Egypt's richest builders, raised full ram statues that were later gathered into the Karnak complex. The whole avenue is a family album of pharaohs, written in stone. This is a wonderful hour to be here. The sun has just gone down over the West Bank, where the Valley of the Kings hides in the desert hills, and the sky is holding its last color. The floodlights along the avenue are starting to warm up, and the Sphinxes throw long, soft shadows across the pavement. The tour groups thin out in the evening, so long stretches of the avenue feel almost private. For a road built for grand public spectacle, it is surprisingly peaceful tonight. So what was this road actually for? The answer is a festival, one of the greatest in the ancient world, called Opet. Once a year, the statues of the gods of Thebes left their sanctuary at Karnak and traveled to Luxor temple, carried in sacred boats on the shoulders of priests. Crowds lined the way, musicians played, dancers performed, and offerings piled up at every stop. The festival renewed the bond between the god Amun and the reigning king, restoring the ruler's divine authority for another year. This avenue was the stage for that entire national drama. The gods traveled in style. Each deity rode in a bark, a ceremonial boat shrine carried on long poles, gilded and hung with fine linen. Amun-Re led the way as the supreme god of Thebes, followed by his consort, the goddess Mut, and their son Khonsu, the moon god. Inside each bark, hidden from ordinary eyes, rode the cult statue of the god. In some eras, the barks floated down the Nile itself, and in others they were carried overland, right along this avenue. Either way, the arrival at Luxor Temple was the emotional peak of the Theban year. Walk down the center line of this road, and you are tracing the exact route of those processions. Thousands of years ago, the person in this spot might have been a priest under the weight of a carrying pole, or a king pacing beside the bark of his father Amun. The crowds would have pressed in from both sides, held back at the edges of the sacred way. The same statues we are passing watched all of it. Very few places on earth let you put your feet so precisely where history happened. The Opet Festival was tied to the rhythm of the river. It took place in the second month of Akhit, the season of the Nile flood, when the fields were underwater and farm work paused. That timing gave the whole population a chance to gather and celebrate, and the party kept growing. Under Thutmose III, the festival ran about 11 days, and by the late reign of Rameses III it had stretched to some 27 days. Nearly a month of ceremony, feasting, and spectacle, all anchored to this one road. Take a moment to appreciate the engineering of a straight line. The avenue holds its course across the whole distance between the two temples, laid out by surveyors who worked with cords and stakes and sightlines. The pedestals march along at regular intervals with impressive discipline. Under our feet, the roadway was built up and paved so the processions moved on a clean, level surface. Even ruined and weathered, the geometry still reads clearly after more than 2,000 years. The route is older than most of its statues. Inscriptions from the reign of Hatshepsut, the famous woman who ruled Egypt as pharaoh in the 15th century BC, record chapels built along this processional way, 6 small way stations where the sacred barques could rest. Picture the procession pausing at each one, the heavy boat shrines set down, incense lit, offerings made before the priests lifted the poles again. The festival route was a piece of religious infrastructure, maintained and improved reign after reign. Hatshepsut understood that a great ceremony needs a great road. Then came the builders of Egypt's Golden Age. Amenhotep III ruled at the empire's peak of wealth, and he poured that wealth into Thebes, expanding temples on both banks of the Nile. Along the processional ways, he set up full statues of rams, the sacred animal of Amun, carved with massive curled horns. Later generations rearranged and reused these figures, moving many of them into the Karnak complex. On this avenue, almost every stone has been handled by more than one dynasty. Building here was a conversation across centuries. As we keep moving, let the repetition sink in, pedestal and sphinx and gap over and over. The rhythm repeats hundreds of times, and that rhythm is the point. A single sphinx is a sculpture, but 1,000 sphinxes in formation are an argument, a statement that the order of the kingdom is vast, disciplined, and permanent. Ancient visitors walking to the temple felt that message with every step. It still works tonight. The avenue as we see it was completed remarkably late in Egypt's story. Most of the human-headed sphinxes standing today were set up under Nectanebo I, a pharaoh of the 30th dynasty who ruled in the 380s and 370s BC. By his day, the pyramids were already 2,000 years old, and Egypt was fighting to keep its independence from Persia. Lining this road with fresh ranks of sphinxes was a declaration that the old ways still stood. Nectanebo's dynasty proved to be the last line of native Egyptian pharaohs, which makes this avenue something of a final masterpiece. Look closely at the faces as we pass. These are not generic guardians. The human-headed sphinxes wear the royal headcloth, and their features are carved in the idealized style of a king's portrait. Each one, in effect, is the pharaoh multiplied, watching over the road of the god. Some faces are almost untouched, and others have been softened by water, salt, and time until they are nearly dreamlike. Seen up close in the evening light, they feel less like monuments and more like a crowd. This road stayed in use long after the pharaohs. Egyptologists describe the avenue and its surroundings as spanning roughly 2,000 years, from the New Kingdom all the way into the Roman period. Under Greek and Roman rule, Thebes became a destination for ancient tourists who came to marvel at monuments that were already ancient to them. Ordinary life crowded in along the edges of the sacred way, with workshops and buildings from later centuries leaving their traces for modern excavators. Every layer the archaeologists peeled back told the story of a different Egypt. The avenue was a main street for all of them. Then slowly the road disappeared. When the old religion faded, the procession stopped, and there was no longer anyone assigned to sweep the sacred way. The Nile flood laid down silt year after year, and desert sand drifted in behind it. The sphinxes vanished up to their shoulders, then their heads, then entirely. It was not a single disaster, just centuries of ordinary neglect. The greatest street in Egypt became level ground, and the world forgot it was there. Along the edges of the avenue, you can read the burial directly. The corridor we are walking sits meters below the modern streets, and stairways climb from the ancient pavement up to present-day Luxor. Every meter of that climb is accumulated time, flood silt and sand, and the packed debris of later towns. People lived their whole lives up there without knowing what their houses stood on. When you hear that archaeologists dig down to find the past, this place makes that idea physical. By the modern era, Luxor had grown directly over the buried avenue. Houses, shops, and streets sat on top of the sphinxes, and later a mosque and a church stood within the route's path. None of this was done in malice. The avenue was simply invisible, and land in a growing town is always needed. That is what made the rediscovery so difficult and so dramatic. Excavating the road would eventually mean carefully working through a living city, which is one reason the project took generations. Full night now, and the avenue has turned golden. The lighting along the route was designed for exactly this hour, grazing across the statues so every muscle line and headcloth pleat stands out. Ahead, the great temple pylons glow against the dark sky. Ancient festival processions here move through torchlight and lamplight, so an illuminated avenue at night is not a modern invention at all. We are seeing something close to what the ancients staged, spectacle after sunset. The rediscovery began in 1949. The Egyptian archaeologist Mohammed Zakaria Ghonim, excavating near Luxor Temple, uncovered 8 Sphinx statues, the first proof of where the buried avenue lay. Digging resumed in the late 1950s when 17 more statues came to light, and through the early 1960s when another 55 were found, all within about 250 meters. Each trench extended the line a little further. What had been a memory in old inscriptions was becoming a real road again, one sphinx at a time. Every statue we passed tonight had to be found, freed, and documented by hand. Look at how many are fragmentary, a pair of paws here, a broken pedestal there, a body missing its head. Archaeologists mapped each fragment where it lay before anything was moved. The complete route was only fully traced in the campaigns between 1984 and 2000. What looks like a single elegant boulevard is really the sum of thousands of small, careful discoveries. From that first trench in 1949 to the finished avenue took more than 7 decades. The work advanced in waves, as budgets, politics, and the practical problems of digging through an inhabited city allowed. In the final push, buildings standing over the route were cleared, and the two ends of the excavation moved toward each other until the entire 2.7-kilometer road lay open. It was one of the largest archaeological undertakings in modern Egypt. Few projects anywhere have asked a city to reveal a street it had been standing on for centuries. This stretch shows the restorer's craft at its best. Conservators cleaned away salt and grime, rejoined broken bodies, and set recovered sphinxes back on their original pedestals along the route. Missing pieces were left honestly missing, so you can always tell ancient stone from modern repair. The pavement was stabilized so visitors can walk the road the way processions once did. Restoration at this scale is slow, humble work, and the result is a place that feels genuinely ancient rather than rebuilt. In late November of 2021, the Avenue came back to life in front of the whole world. Egypt staged a spectacular evening ceremony in Luxor, attended by the president and broadcast internationally. Performers in pharaonic dress lined the route, a symphony orchestra played, and dancers, boats, and horse-drawn carriages filled the night. 3 golden ceremonial boats honored Amun, Re, Mut, and Khonsu, a deliberate echo of the ancient Opet procession. After centuries of silence, the road between Karnak and Luxor Temple once again did exactly what it was built to do. And this is what that long effort bought. A visitor tonight can walk an unbroken processional road between 2 of the greatest temples ever raised, under open sky, past ranks of statues in the lamplight. The avenue has become the connecting thread of Luxor, tying the whole ancient city back into one composition. Stand in the middle of the road and look both ways, and you can feel the geography of Thebes snap into focus. This single street organizes 3,000 years of history. Egyptologists have called the restored avenue part of the largest open-air museum in the world. It is hard to argue. The route stitches together temples, chapels, and monuments spanning from the New Kingdom to the Roman era, all displayed in place, under the same sky where they were built. There are no display cases here, no climate-controlled halls. The exhibit is the city itself, and admission is simply the act of walking. Luxor holds an astonishing share of the world's surviving monuments, and this road is the aisle that runs through the collection. Two great lines define Luxor. One is the Nile, the moving road that carried Egypt's grain, armies, and gods for its entire history. The other is this avenue, the fixed road, aimed not at commerce but at eternity. The ancient city lived in the space between them, farming the flood plain, burying its kings in the western hills, and parading its gods along this stone spine. Rivers change and cities rise and fall, but tonight both lines are still here, still doing their work. That continuity is the real monument. The The Avenue of Sphinxes is proof that a road can be more than a way to get somewhere. This one carried gods, outlived its builders, vanished beneath a city and came back. If your travels ever bring you to Luxor, come at dusk, start at one temple and walk to the other, the way processions did for well over 1,000 years. Few walks on earth carry this much history per step. Thank you for watching. Follow for more of the trails of the world.